So in this exercise, let's have a look at adjusting the saturation of an image. So I'll begin by opening up, as soon as I get the Apple Pencil working, and import a document. Now we'll use this one called Helmingham Hall simply because, as you can see, it's kind of a washed out picture, but it's also a raw image. You can see up the top left hand corner there. Now using raw images allows you a great deal of flexibility, but the simplest part here, we want to bring up the colours in that a little bit. So we'll go to the develop tool, which is there, and if we go down the list, you can see almost down the bottom here, and I'll scroll that up a little bit, you can see saturation. Now saturation at the moment is 0%. Let's bring that up to 25%. Immediately you can see that that's improved the saturation of the colours. Now you don't want to be silly with this because that's looking pretty good. The contrast is 0, clarity 0, but we've increased the saturation of the colours to 25%. Now of course there's a grey sky there, but you know how to change the sky because changing the sky on an image is something for another exercise. We can leave that grey sky there because that one's actually going to be quite easy to change. But it was a grey day, you see, and that's why the colours there looked so washed out. Perhaps we can bring the vibrance up a little bit to get the green grass down here to come up a little bit. 7%, there's 10%, 9%, yeah, that's increased the vibrance a little bit. Saturation perhaps, let's bring that to 30%. There we go. Now that's quite it for that one. I wouldn't go any further with that. The flowers are looking nice and bright. The green on the wall and the green trees, and even the colours of the brickwork have come up quite a bit. Now we'll develop that by simply going up to the top here, and you can see the check mark there. Let's just tap that and it'll develop that image. And there's our image nicely developed, and you can use that anytime you like. What I'll do is save that one, save as, developed Helmingham Hall. Just save that. It's always a good idea to save your work as you go. Now I won't save it to pictures where I had that one stored, because what I want to do is save that into Dropbox to where I've got the Affinity photo files, and we'll save that one there. Now that's really straightforward, just doing those colours, but there are other ways of bringing up the saturation in an image. So again, let's bring one up that's already been done. No, we don't want new, we want to open a document and import a document. This one I've called saturation image, and you can see there. Now that's another grey day. This is England. I live in the UK, mind you, so there's lots of grey days here. But although it was quite a gloomy forest, it wasn't quite as washed out as that. Now what we can do with that is go over here to the side, to the toolbar there, and click on Adjustments, the Adjustments tool. Go down to the HSL Adjustments, which is down here, and that brings up the HSL Adjustment tool here. Just click on the colours, and you can select any of the colours you like from that bar, but not to get too far ahead. We're looking at saturation, so once again we can bring that saturation up to 25%. Now that's brought up the colour a little bit, That's 46%. There, that might be a bit too much. Let's go to 30%. Just tap over there. If you use the numbers, the thing stays there. Now, if you want the greens to come up a little bit, because it's brought up the browns of the saturation there we're dealing with, we've only moved saturation. Now, if you want that green to come up a little bit, move that to -29. -20. -20. That's a bit better. Just touch in there anywhere. Now we've got a nice gloomy picture in there. You'll see this wasn't a raw image to start with. What happens if we touch just the green? It's sharpened up the green by itself, and you can see down here at this side of the curve where the little dots are. So it's brought up just the green. And that one you can use on an already developed photo. Let's just go over there. Now the good thing about this is that's a HSL shift adjustment. You can turn it off and you can see the photo change. There's with the adjustment on, there's with the adjustment off. And if you want to take your photo back to square one, you just delete that adjustment layer. But we'll leave it there. Now this is really cool when it comes to, I'll just save that one. Into Affinity Photo again. Now let's bring up a real estate image, because real estate or houses are often very important. Modern luxury home with swimming pool. Now there we go, let's bring that in there. You can see the blue of the pool and the blue of the sky in this instance are a little washed out. So let's bring in an adjustment here. We'll go to the HSL adjustment and select just the lightish blue for a change. %. Now we can see that. See, if I turn it off by unselecting that layer, turn that layer on, and you can see the blue comes back in the pool. Now let's pick the same adjustment for the deeper blue, which is the sky, and we'll see if we can get 25% in the sky, and that's already a little bit darker. Notice when I turn it off, the sky and the pool go back to where they were. Turn it on and the sky and the pool are slightly darker blue. Not much, you don't want to be silly about it, but it does give the image much more power. You can see that much more contrasty in the around the roof edge. Now if you wanted to green up the greenery and green up the lawn a bit, you just do the same thing. You call it up, find your HSL shift adjustment, and you can even put a new one on there if you like, but this one will do. We'll just go in here and select the greens, and we'll bring the greens up to 25%. Let's see what that looks like. On and off. There's on, and it's just slightly greener, and off, and the pool colours of course turn on and turn off as we want them before. A few simple exercises, a few simple tweaks, and you can really improve your real estate photos or photos of your house. You might be sending them to someone else, and there are lots of things you can move on to from there, but we'll just leave it at that for the time being.